Hello, welcome to my second video using the Zentangle method to draw. The Zentangle method, if you are interested in learning more about it, you can go to zentangle.com. Is a website created by Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas, who founded the Zentangle method. There's a blog, newsletter, tutorials, even supplies that you can buy. So it's a great resource. For today, I'd like to show you 4 new tangles using something called a grid to start each tangle. So you're going to need a piece of scrap paper, a pen, a marker or a crayon, a pencil, and then something for your final product, which I have a 4.5-inch tile. I have 2 of them because I want to show you 2 different things. It can be the back of a cereal box, it could be a note card, a piece of scrap paper, an envelope, whatever you can find to draw on. Zentangle does not have to be done on fancy tiles. Okay, let's get started. So each of these is going to start in a grid, and to make a grid, you're going to make 5 lines. And then you're going to make 5 lines across. I only had room for a couple, that's okay. All right, the first one we're going to do is called floors, and it's called floors because it looks like a tiled floor. All right, so after you make your grid, you're going to make little diamonds in each of the intersections, kind of tiny. And you're going to color them in. I love using this pattern if I have a lot of space to fill in. It looks beautiful and simple and clean. And it's pretty easy to make. With all of these Zentangle tangles, there are many variations, so please feel free to get creative. I taught this one to my family, and my sister made each of these little intersections into palm trees, which were really cute. You can also make little circles, little sunshines, whatever you'd like. So that's the basic floors pattern. The next one, we're going to do some lines again. I think I'll just do 4 this time. And this one is called Be Light. Be Light. And to make Be Light, we're going to put a little crescent moon in each corner and color it in. I'm going kind of fast and being kind of messy, just because I don't want you to have to sit here for hours watching me go real slow. But when I'm doing this on my tile, I'll try to slow down and make it nice and neat. Each stroke, breathing through each stroke, doing each one slowly and carefully. When we slow down, our things tend to look much cleaner, much better. Okay, after you have all your little crescent moons in the corner, we're going to aura them. Remember, an aura means you go around something or kind of alongside it. If your line gets wobbly and touches, like mine kind of did, it doesn't matter. This is just for relaxation. It doesn't have to be perfect. After that, we're going to do another one. And I'm going to show you a technique called a sparkle, where you lift your pen and then continue on. Lift my pen, continue. And up here, I'm just going to go back and oral one more time. I like to do 3. You definitely could fill up the whole square if you wanted to. I just kind of like the look of doing 3. Down here, I'm going to do my sparkle again, just so you can see what that little change does to the look of it. Kind of looks like a light is shining into it. So Floors Be Light. The next one is called Ambler. Hard for me to write on an angle. Ambler. For Ambler, it's kind of like the Printemps we made before, where you make a spiral, but instead of doing a round shape, we're going to do straight lines. So I'm going to start in the corner, but not touching the corner. I'm going to go over and not touch. Down, back, up, not touch. A little spiral. And we're just going to fill each box with that shape. Again, if you make a mistake, it's okay. Don't worry about it, just keep going. There's the Ambler. Last thing I'm going to show you today is one that my daughter taught me when she first learned how to Zentangle. It's become one of my favorites. It's called Bales. In Bales, you're going to make like a letter C on the side of each of these lines. And then down the next row, make them kind of close to the line. Don't let them take up your whole square. After you get done with that, we're going to go back on the other side of the line and make a backward C. And then we're going to go on the top. Again, try to stay kind of close to your line. I think it already looks so pretty. And then go underneath. Again, I'm going fast. Please don't go as fast as I am. Take your time. What I love about this one is we start with straight lines and then we add a couple curves and we end up with these circles, these overlapping circles, which I think is a cool outcome. All right, it's not quite done yet. You could stop there if you wanted to, but to finish it off, I'm going to go inside this shape here and I'm going to make another bump and a bump on that side and a bump there, a bump there, and I'm going to keep going till I get to the middle. So a bump, and for this I am touching the corners of each one. Just filling in the space. It doesn't matter if one shape you do 4 and the next one you do 3 or 5, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter if you end on the same swing, up or down. What I love about this is, again, we start with the straight lines, add the curves, and then you can kind of see circles. But when we're done, it kind of looks like a little poofy flower shape. I love the look of that. All right, Floors, Be Light, Ambler, and Bales, 4 new tangles. All right, I'm going to set that aside and we're going to move to one of our tiles. Okay, to do a tile, I'm going to show you 2 things. If you're feeling a little bit nervous about doing something too crazy or unique, then we're going to make a grid with just 4 big squares in it in practice. So I start by making my 4 dots in the corners, and I make my lines, kind of curvy, kind of straight, doesn't really matter. Nice and light. So for this option, I'm just going to have you make a straight line down and a straight line across. Now a different way to do it, if you're a little brave and want to try some go behind, then I'm going to do my 4 dots, make my lines, and in the middle I'm going to put a heart, pretty big heart, and then my grid is going to go behind it. Okay, so let's work on this one. So for this one, I think I'd like to make 3 lines, so it gives me 4 spots. 1, 2, 3. If you're comfortable doing this part in pen, go ahead. I tend to do it in pencil first just to make sure I like how it looks. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm gonna grab my pen. And I would take that first section just kind of mark it off like that, and then pick one of the tangles to do. So if I want to start with bales, I can fill this whole section with bales. It doesn't matter which one you start with. I probably should go back and put those lines in pen. Let me do that real quick. I'm not too worried about the pencil marks. They tend to disappear inside the artwork. Now I have this end here, so I'm going to do half a bales. I'm not going to do this side because that's going to be for my next tangle. I am going to do this side over here. And then I'm going to do the tops. Again, try not to make them too big. Stay kind of close. And then the top of that one. I'm not going to do the top up here. I'm going to leave that. If you wanted to do it, you could. It wouldn't hurt anything. And then go in and add all your new bumps inside. When I first started doing Zentangle, I couldn't wait to get to the finished product. So I would rush through, and my instructor Marjorie was always saying, slow down, take your time, breathe. I feel myself rushing right now, so you don't have to wait for me to do all this. But if I wasn't recording and I was doing this on my own, I would definitely slow down. Think about each stroke, each line you're making. Make it touch. Make a nice curve to it. If you mess up, you know, if you get too close to the line or you do too many or too few, just move on. It's okay. Again, it does not have to look perfect. It's just for fun. All right, there's bales. Since this was kind of busy, I'm going to do floors next. I'm going to trace my area that I want to work in. If I was doing the heart, it would be the same thing. You would just have some spots where you'd have a partial bales or partial floors. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and make my lines. If you're working with a small piece of paper or a tile, it's nice because you can turn it as you work. And I'm going to start putting my little diamonds in. Sometimes my diamonds are longer on the bottom or wider, doesn't matter. Filling up space. Taking deep breaths. I did all my inside ones, so now on my outside ones I'm going to do half. So here, what would that be? That? And then half over here. And then we color them in. Again, you could do circles, sunshines, whatever you wanted. I'm going to show you what this looks like around a heart. I made one earlier. So this is a little bit easier, just doing a square grid. This one you can see I had to kind of do some half bales and kind of guess at how they worked out. Same with Be Light, I had to end things a little bit early. But I kind of like having this big object in the middle to break up all the grid. All right. After floors, I'm going to do some Be Light. So for Be Light, I'm going to make my square. And trace all my lines. You can see my lines are not straight. You know, this section is wider than that section. It's okay. Don't usually use a ruler when doing Zentangle because it's just for fun. So for Be Light, I'm going to make those little crescent moon shapes in the corners. And then fill those in. I like that there's kind of some dark on this side and dark up here. Balancing that a little bit. After you color them in, you're going to do your little aura lines. Remember, I like to do 3. Feel free to do however many you want. Remember to pause so you can do this a little bit slower than I'm doing. Take your time making your aura. Try to start and stop on a line so you don't end up having a space between them. For the next 2 rows, I'm going to do the sparkle, which means I'm going to lift my pen. So lift, lift, lift. And not much, just a tiny little bit. Just gives it a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit of light. You could do that on every one if you wanted to. You could just do it once. I like the look of that. All right, almost done. So I got a little squishy on the bottom there, so I just undid my lines early. All right, the last one is Ambler. I'm going to darken my lines. Remember, Ambler is kind of like a spiral, but instead of using curves, we're doing straight lines like a box. These micron pens are great. Their tips are really tiny and they tend to bend, so you don't have to put a lot of pressure. Remember to stop once in a while and stretch your fingers and move a little bit. Loosen your grip and take your time. You can see if I went really fast, how it would look kind of messy. But if I go slow and really think about each line I'm making, it turns out much better. I used to have really shaky hands, and my lines all kind of had a little wiggle to them, and it was totally fine. For some reason lately I'm not doing that. I changed some meds, and I'm not quite as wiggly as I used to be. All right, there's the tile. And when you're done, always add your initials. And if you make them kind of cool, it's called a chop. And on the back, I would write the date. I would write, maybe this is my second tile of my videos. And maybe that we're still in quarantine. So I would write something on the back so I remember it. This is the one I did using the exact same tangles, but I put a heart in the middle. And then I was gonna fill it with tipple, but I decided to do the printops instead and do kind of a big, you know, roundish thing in the middle. And then I did darken some of these edges just for some dimension. Kind of a fun way to break up the space a little bit. And then I used a graphite pencil, which I haven't shown you yet, but a graphite pencil for some shading. So I shaded around the edges to kind of make it look a little poofy. And then I put some dark stuff here so it looks like it's laying on top of those tiles. You could do a heart, a circle, anything you wanted. You could write a word in there, put your name in it, whatever you want, but I think both of them look kind of cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, please, please send me a picture if you try any of these, and message me if you have any questions. Thank you.